Perfect. Next, sorry that you were waiting for an hour. So next is Gibson Avenue, the flooding issues. So Rich Fun and Frank Morabito and Heather Travier.
Heather Travier, you had it right.
She represents Gibson, so you can just. Heather, just make sure you put your mic on when you're ready to speak. Just push it up.
So you're the new community leader.
I have become.
If you could press it, please. You have to press it to turn green.
Yes. I made these printouts for everyone. You can pass them out, take one, and that's just to show you how my backyard looks and what it looks like every time it floods. And this is a 6-foot fence. This is an 8-foot fence, and that's a 6-foot fence that you can't even see.
So everyone who was watching, we have members from the Gibson Avenue community, and one of the residents is showing pictures, in which we can try to get up later, is showing pictures of what happens each time there's a rainstorm that happens.
Right. Sorry.
Heather, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Heather Travier. I live at 82 Gibson, and I spoke at the public town hall here a couple weeks ago. So I thought, anybody else can come up, but I kind of think I can speak for everybody of what we're all going through.
We all here.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, considering work sessions are typically town employees only, so I appreciate you taking the lead and speaking for everybody. Thank you.
No problem. It's my new calling. So I just kind of broke down on this flyer for those who are watching. Just basically the 3 floods that we've had: Ida, the regular rain, and then the storm that was in July. The storm that was in July was actually the highest it's ever been, and that's what this picture is. It's like this 6-inch creek, which I said before, it just becomes, hi Frank, it just becomes a roaring rapids, like you can see. And my neighbor Sandra, who's here, that is her shed, and every time it floods, it like barricades through the fence. Everybody's furniture ends up in my yard, just because of the force of the water. Water will find a way. So I wanted to make this for you just so you can see how insanely high it gets. I'm taking this from like a balcony above my yard. So we're just all here to find out what can be done. I know I spoke to you, Frank, briefly about what you were trying to do to clean up, but we can't keep living through this, because this is outside, but it's 4.5 feet in my house every time. So, and everybody else that kind of touches the creek, I'm sure we all have the same pictures of what this looks like. So it's Gibson and Prospect. So.
Commissioner Fong, you want to go and you and the Deputy Commissioner Morabito can talk about what you have done since July 14th.
Sure, and good evening. And we all truly feel for everything you've been through. The pictures submitted are horrific. Again, the town was hit with another record-setting storm. This one in particular was 7.5 inches, which in certain areas, which equates to a 550-year storm, as per our engineers. We do have a quick slideshow of some of the work and what we hope gets done out there. I'm going to go through it real quick. Just for everybody's information, we are currently undergoing a study of the Manhattan Brook, that whole area, the whole watershed. We've just gotten information back from our surveyors. This was, I think, a $200,000 survey. What they did was picked up all the infrastructure, that is drainage infrastructure in the area, which will ultimately be entered into a program to determine how we best try to manage this. And when I say manage this, a storm like this is almost unmanageable. There's no infrastructure that's designed for that. And this isn't a Greenberg issue, this isn't a county issue, it's not even a state issue. You see what's going on in Texas and all over the country. But know that we're all working to do the best we can to try to mitigate these situations. So right now, we have the Westchester County study going on. I do know that Councilwoman Jackson has been in contact with Westchester County, and there's some talk about what we could do there. Along that, I'm going to show you what we did on the other side of Manhattan Brook near the center, which is what we want to continue through the whole area. And Deputy Commissioner Morbido and the Highway Department team have been aggressively out cleaning the brook. In fact,
I'm sorry, is the slideshow should be rolling while you're having this discussion?
I'm going to go through it and discuss it
Oh,
as we
okay,
go through.
okay, we're unclear. Okay, thank you.
I just want a brief
No problem.
update, and then we'll go through that. Our engineers have found some really odd things on the FEMA maps where they stopped studies. And we're going to be talking about this with the board in further detail, but they've actually, on their maps, showed limited detail of study. And this area is blocked out. It wasn't studied. So there's like a line. It's very odd.
So Gibson was not included.
Correct. It's not in the FEMA map, so it's not in the flood zone, although we all know it is. One area that I'll show you here as we go through, so let me try to figure out how Terrence did this. This is the end point at the state right-of-way. So you see the star there? All right, so Frank and team took out 1,700-yard dumpsters of material from that area. It was completely clogged up. That's overhead. This is the area that went and cleaned out. Now what this does is it creates an area of retention. What they removed out of there was blocking. So what happens is when you get a rain of that event,
Rich, the microphone's over here.
when you get a storm of that event, everything in everybody's yards gets picked up and put into the brook. And ultimately it ends to this area or a bridge area, and it blocks up, which creates this flooding. So they did take out, again, 1,700-yard dumpsters.
Could you, just to put that in perspective, about how much of this room would be filled?
It would be filled.
5 times,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys got to speak up so everyone can hear you, please.
5 times the amount of this room.
So 5 times the amount
Of this
of this
whole-
room is what you pulled out of the brook.
Yeah, and the cost of disposal was about $400,000. So this is, again, it's that area.
You just didn't want the volume to get lost.
This is it now cleaned. They pulled out stuff that is, Caldor shopping carts, stuff that, again,
Yes.
this is
Caldors.
New York State DOT area.
How long did it take you to remove all these?
They were out there for just this one area and cleaning up the brook for weeks.
Just this area.
It's a huge difference.
So again, just to put that in perspective, where it says the corner of 119 and Greenville Circle.
Look,
if
there's
anyone-
Gina.
I hope you didn't get when I fell.
He pushed you in.
Was that before or after your
They
boot
pushed
went
me in
into
the
the
brook.
muck?
So I just wanted, so everyone knows where this area is and they can picture that this is where you have across the street from the police station parking lot for the courthouse. There's 2 billboards there. Westy, I think Westy's on there currently. So that's right where that billboard is. That's where they were out cleaning out and really getting all of this backup and this debris, which has been causing these challenges. I'm sorry, I don't want to take away from
No,
it.
it's
Just
all
want
right.
to make sure everyone is clear.
Again, this is another pinch point. This is Gibson. There's a camera going through and checking the areas to see for any blockages. There's Gina.
Holding
So,
off for
Myself
dear
and Frank.
life.
But
I
you
s-
see the camera up there?
yes.
So
Yeah.
this was sent to, this kind of will move around that goes through the pipe to see if there's anything in there that's blocking it. And by the way, this leads ultimately all the way up to Old Kensico and past into the parkland.
So I'm sorry, just again, just be clear. Can you just get from the starting point of Manhattan Brook? So everyone is clear, because it's just not just one section in
Right.
Fulton Park, it's not one section on Gibson Avenue, just the full area.
Whole
of-
area, so all this ultimately
And your mic.
terminates, and I wish I had a map up there of this, but all this terminates at Old Kensico. That one point where we got the two culverts, which we've now purchased pumps that we're gonna hopefully at some point do a test run.
Mike, please.
Sorry. These pumps there's a culvert there, there's an aqueduct. It's a gravity-fed line that feeds New Rochelle and Mount Vernon with potable water. That's one of the points. The berm has never, that we know of, been breached. So we're looking to put pumps there to try to take the water as the storm starts and push it over this berm, giving it more area to go. We are also looking at multiple areas in the watershed to create retention. So, for instance, Mr. Morbido found an area on the School for Deaf property and the church property off Old Tarrytown, which we're now going to be in contact with to try to create an area where we could retain water so that it's not heading your way, like a pole. So all this is being done to try to prevent the water from going quickly there, and then when it gets to a certain point, to give it a place to go. So this whole watershed ultimately ends at the Old Kensico, which Councilwoman Jackson is now in contact with the county, and if we get this agreement, we'll be working with the county on their end too.
I'm just
and
not clear
that's-
on, I need you to
if I-
describe with the whole area.
If I can just make a point referencing, when you referenced New Rochelle and Mount Vernon, the waterways cross, they don't recognize the borders of the different municipalities. So we have to work with other municipalities where the water generates to begin with might be way upstream, up several towns or villages away, and in other towns and villages and cities. So that becomes an added layer of consideration. So people should be aware that we don't have control necessarily of all the factors.
Which is why we're having discussions with the county.
Right, and this storm hit this area, where other areas of town, for whatever reason with this storm, weren't impacted. These storms are getting crazier and crazier each time they come.
Could you explain what
I
you're
know.
asking the county to do?
Sure. What we're asking the county to do is to go into an agreement. Well, hold on a second.
That's fine.
Okay. So we're asking the county to go on agreement as well we can work together to clear out that area at Kensico Ave or Kensico Road to make sure that the water can pool in a better area instead of pooling in the backyards of people's homes. So we feel it would be better if the water would go into the highway instead of someone's home. So
I'm fine with that.
we are having conversations with the county, just talking with them. They're very
And it's the grassy area
grassy
next
area.
to the highway.
Yes. So we're not trying to flood out the highway. Parkway. So the Bronx River Parkway. So
I mean, the Bronx River Parkway floods anyway, all the time. So can it handle all this extra
We would plan on
water?
removing plantation and vegetation that, once it's removed, it would allow for a greater amount of water to flow into the area.
So it's not going to, so I just want to be clear, so that doesn't mean it's going to completely stop, but at least it'll minimize the impact of what people are experiencing now.
Yeah, there's a berm on Old Kensico, if you go into these residents' backyard.
What is a berm, Commissioner?
Thank you. It's a earthen structure that's covering this pipe. So if you go into their backyard, you'll basically see a grade, it peaks, and then it goes back the other side. There's this aqueduct in there. So the water builds up there, it's got nowhere to go. We're looking to take that water and get it to the other side as quickly as possible. Our engineers are looking at ways to remove the aqueduct and put a siphon in, so we can get rid of that structure completely, all these things are being looked at this point. Again, we are very sensitive to everybody's situation out there. We are looking at this from multiple fronts. That has our complete attention. And we are looking forward to this Manhattan Brook study coming back, hopefully not too far in the future. But right now, our biggest action items are cleaning the brook, creating areas of retention, and basically working on a way to get this water to a place where it'll be able to sit safe.
So, and I just want to follow what you're saying, and also just so everyone's aware, what I have learned in this whole process, honestly, is you can't just clean out one area because it's going to affect other areas.
Can't
So
sense.
this is why we have to simultaneously work together in every area. So every area that, from behind Gibson Avenue, that's going down towards going over the highway, that's going behind, not Ethan Allen, what is it now?
Just stick,
No, it's
Or,
not.
Raymore
No, Raymore and
Flanagan.
Flanagan, we apologize. Raymore
That's
and
Fulton
Flanagan.
Park, right?
And that goes into the Fulton Park. But also, we have to remember, it starts up, that's why I wanted you to tell them exactly.
It's a whole watershed.
I don't think people are clear. I think people, and I don't want to think for people, but I just want people to be clear on, it's not just this section of Fulton Park, or it's not just this section of Gibson Avenue, or just this section of Wendover Woods. It's all collectively that's having the issue. So that's why we have to work together and clean up every area. So Department of Public Works, as you've been out there cleaning all the different areas, that we have to make sure that we hit every area. Because if we don't, that means that someone's going to get affected, and that's why we need to make sure that we're clear. And just as the pictures this is the video that you see how all that was blocked. And so when all that stuff gets down in that area, it's coming from other areas. It's not just coming from Gibson Avenue. It's coming from wherever we're coming from, Wendover Woods. Frank, help me out here. I just want to make sure I'm clear. I don't want to misspeak on the streets. But it's coming from all the different neighborhoods, and then it pulls in one area. So if it gets blocked, like it got blocked behind your home, and it caused that challenge of, your neighbors, and it challenged this, as everyone has seen this flag. This is why we want to make sure that we're out there on a consistent basis, doing the maintenance, working alongside the county to help out and to ensure that we can try to minimize the damage. Now, again, I just want everyone to be clear. With these 500-year storms that we're not expecting that everyone is being affected with, that it's not going to totally take it away, but at least it'll minimize the damages that we're experiencing now.
Let me ask another question. I think it's great, to remove all the obstructions. I took a site visit with Lou Sanchez. That I guess we saw that area in back of people's homes that have to be, cleared. We really need an annual maintenance, both the county and and the town, because we could remove all the obstructions now, and 6 months from now or a year from now, it's going to be the same thing. So we really need I'm sort of wondering if, what we really need is to put pressure on all the levels of government who have a responsibility to commit to do this. You were mentioning biannual,
Twice a year.
Right, it really has to be done.
Annual is
frequently.
not,
And you have to do it all. It may be more than that, honestly. It may,
know,
and
but
it's
I'm
all
just talking
depending
about-
on what we have. I'm not trying to put pressure on anyone. I think that we need to work collectively together so we can come to a plan and we can figure out how we can all work on the same schedule to make sure that this is done. The county has been amenable. They have been talking to us. They've been sitting down, and they want to work because they want to work with us, and they want to make sure that residents are not continuing to be affected by this. We're trying to talk with the state. So we're working collectively. But we have to. We can't put pressure. We can't point fingers. This is a collective issue for the county, state, and the town.
For the portion of the town, let's say, not pointing fingers, for the portion of the town, do we have the ability of, making sort of a commitment that we will remove the obstructions on the town, on the town portion?
We have.
But you do it like twice a year.
I think what Councilwoman Jackson said, it's like painting a bridge. By the time you get to one side of the bridge, you gotta go back and do it again. This is not gonna go away. I mean, you see here, this is again, state property off the thruway. We're gonna have to go in there, and again, Frank Morabito's got a contact with the Thruway Authority, where we could do possibly a lane closure and pull that stuff out. Both Francis and Gina saw this in the field. It's completely, you could see it here, and thank you to Terrence, he does a great job with these videos.
Terrence Brosman, our
Brosman.
cable director.
Yes. You could see stuff hanging off the
And
limbs.
drone pilot.
Yeah.
Drone pilot.
Beautiful
This
work.
is what you have out there, there's blockages there. Again, this is on state property, we're working with them to go in there and clean it up. I want to just get to a point here where you also see, because I know there was complaints about, all right, so this is
This is, yeah. this
the
is-
other side. This is ultimately,
That's behind the center,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we took some trees down last year. Yes. And I know people were upset about it. This is why we want to take anything that we think is going to come down, and we saw some more when we were out there that we got to take down. So that ultimately, we're going to be putting this stone in so that it doesn't erode away the banks of the stream or the brook.
Can I just make a statement?
Yeah.
Oh, She needs to come to the mic. You can have to come to the mic. Sit right there.
Please announce your name.
My name is Amy Shea. I'm at 90 Gibson. I'm right after all of this. I'm one of the first houses. If this was the amount of water that was coming into our neighborhood, we could probably stand it. What happens is it goes from here to over by Crossroads Plaza and doubles in size.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then it's expected to go back to this amount behind my house.
yes.
And it can't.
Yeah.
So that's why it flows over 6 feet up. So we're not talking like I could drown in my backyard.
Oh,
Yes.
I see.
I literally would drown. I have, if you go on YouTube, there's a video under
Yeah.
Amy
I
Shea.
saw the
That's
picture.
why
And it's
I
a short.
did this
It
video.
shows I could drown. This water is a rapid. It's fast
What's
flowing.
happening is everything is headed that way.
And
Yes.
all that stuff you cleared up is our furniture that got washed away.
And-
All the stuff that was in our yards from those last 3 storms ended up, that's the blockage you just cleared up. So not only do you have to do it twice a year, but if there's another flood, you have to make sure you get out there and do it again because all of our stuff is there blocking it up.
The only
Well,
thing that
wait, before you, when you have warning of a storm, you can sometimes secure your stuff, right? But when you don't, like this last storm, you can't. right? There- you-
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew how quickly that was going to
But
come
how do
down.
you
I
secure
left
stuff
for a
with 8
wedding.
feet of water?
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
the,
right,
the second, one of the storms, the 2023 storm, I was in North Carolina for a wedding. If it wasn't for my neighbors having a key to my house, I would have lost my cars. I would have lost all of everything. I say they were able to save some of my stuff. So you can't plan ahead.
Yeah, I know.
If I could plan ahead, fine. If you all gave us some kind of a barrier or something that, hey, as soon as there's a storm, we'll pump it up, fine. Right now in front of my garage, I have a blow-up thing to protect it in case one of these storms over the next few days, to give me at least a few minutes to clear stuff out.
The only thing that I sort of feel, first of all, I think that you're doing a really good job, and you've been like super responsive, and, I'm like very pleased with the work that you've done after, this storm. So I have like.
And before.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm not complaining, but the concern that I have, because, this has been going on for decades, is, we don't
2005.
really want people to, we don't want the town or the county to forget about the problem. And this is just an idea, I almost feel that in the budget, the proposed budget, we should have almost like a commitment, the town should say, we're committing, I'm just throwing out, every October 1st or July 1st, we pick a date and we say, the first week in October, the first week in July, or whatever you want, where the town is required to do the maintenance. Then we go to the county and remove the obstructions. Then we go to the county and we say, this is what the town is doing. If you want to be partners, we're not asking for a one-shot thing. We want this done, a legislative commitment or a commitment that this is going to be done
That's what I'm
every
doing,
si-
but
no,
it's okay.
I
It's-
feel that we need it in writing, and we needed.
And that's what I'm working on.
No, but I'm,
That's
Thank you.
excellent.
No, but I'm
If
saying
you could
you-
get, if you could get twice a year, that we know January, whatever.
but I feel
they-
even the town.
It's going to be
Right,
cleared
we
out.
should say we're.
That's good.
At
If
the
this-
minimum,
Next
2
week,
times a
if y'all
year.
can go and put rocks in there now.
Right.
And make it less water, that would help.
So we, and.
Can you, why don't you explain what you have been doing, so, because
So
I
what-
want people
What
to
you see
be clear.
here is what we intend on going through the whole brook. We're not gonna stop until we get from one end to the other.
But
So-
can you start with that big wide area to make it a little bit?
So we're working on multiple fronts. So, and I know they've been aggressively getting rock together.
Yes, they're all behind my house.
All right, sorry. But we are working towards this being the end goal. Again, even with this, we have to have areas of retention. That's the bigger issue. We think and Frank found one in the field this past week. So we think we have areas that are gonna help. Again, what happens is, and we've demonstrated this on the Bronx River, there's areas that you could look from the air, pictures from 60 years ago, there were ponds, there were lakes. Now they're silted up, because they're not working the way they used to. That impacts everybody. Your area, and I wish I had given this to Terrence, you're getting fed from everything.
That's why I wanted you
So
to tell us.
everything's headed to one area.
Yes.
And when you look up and everything's headed your way, and there's a brook there, you get 7.5 inches of rain. And you got any obstruction in the way, anything that's gonna
Impede the
give
flow.
something to
Yeah.
block up, there's gonna be a problem. And even if we were out there during that storm, trying to pull that stuff out, when you get that, like you said, you go in your backyards, you could have big problems if you get sucked up in that water. So, before every storm that we know is gonna come, when we think it's gonna be a heavier rain, there's something called the Brooks and Basin Detail. Town goes out regularly and cleans out the hot spots that we know of. These bigger cleanups, like what Frank is doing now with the team, is getting in there and pulling out the organics. And we've pulled out a tremendous amount, and some of it is probably unfortunately what was picked up from people's yards and brought in. That's a bigger issue we gotta look at, but I want you to know that the town takes this to heart, that we've been out there, we will continue to be out there. For the past 4 years, the town board has put a substantial amount of money each year towards drainage. The last 3 years, it was 2 million, this year it was 1.5 million. I know no one's gonna wanna hear this, but we're gonna up it again this year, because infrastructure is of the utmost important. Not just drainage, water, sewer, everything. You see what Con Ed's doing now, blowing up our roads with all the gas work. That's because it has to get done. Believe me, they don't want to go out there and spend money, they don't have to. We're doing the same thing.
Can I just interrupt you? So what about all the money that Governor Hochul is giving for infrastructure? Is Greenberg receiving any of that? Because I know, she knows that New York has been affected heavily by floods, where she released all that money. Are we getting any of that?
So the Manhattan Brook study, so what we generally do is we'll go to the Westchester County, and we've gotten 2 grants from the county. One of them is the Manhattan Brook. So that study's ongoing right now. We just haven't seen the results of it yet. And again, part of that was this huge surveying project. When I say surveying project, they got land surveyors out physically getting the elevations of all the drainage infrastructure so that that could be put into a water model. So we are working on it.
Specific-
Sorry,
And
Alan.
specific to your question, though, yes, we're working on grants. The way the monies are given are by grants from the state that we have to apply for. And I know that we are applying for several grants.
And-
Correct?
Yes, and the bigger issue here, and I'm sorry, Paul, is that this is not in a flood zone. It's just not mapped, which makes absolutely no sense. And there's other areas of Greenberg that are the same.
So once it gets the designation, it'll be easier to get more funding, right? For this
Yes, the
particular,
problem is the feds aren't doing the work they need to update these maps. I think Jason said it's supposed to be every 5 years. You know,
So we are way behind schedule right now. I know we gave the microphone to someone in the audience, but I think we will have to be wrapping up somewhat soon to get to our
In
other.
terms of the grants,
That's why,
we'll be out in the audience later.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. Can you hear me? So are the engineers coming out tomorrow? I heard they may be coming out tomorrow to survey some areas. The reason I'm asking
Yep.
is because that video on Fair Street between Prospect and Gibson,
Yep.
there's an excavator and other things in the creek.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering about that. If this is something that people have been working on for some time, it seems like that's been there for
A long time.
a long time. That's one. Two, last year, we were told that the reason for the flooding were the trees. All those trees were knocked down. And we were told that someone was going to rejuvenate it in the spring. We are going to the fall. It hasn't been done yet. No one has gotten in touch with us. Another thing, from the flood of 2022, and thank you for, about the governor, because I believe 22, 23, and 25, she sent some money down. I'm not sure how that is distributed. But since 2022, one of my neighbors, no gas. So she's still cooking on a hot plate. It was caused by that flood. Something about the gas line. I don't understand that, but I'm wondering if anyone is coming out to the town, they can survey that. So those are 3 points I wanted to get to. The excavator, the trees, and nothing has happened yet. And also my neighbor's kitchen. She can't cook.
So we're gonna go out and the,
Did you know about the gas line?
that
I don't know, which address is that?
We could share information after
Yeah,
the meeting. and
we'll
take
be
a
out
look
in
at it.
the,
Can I
yeah,
just-
we'll go.
Let me let me ask you just one
I'm
question.
gonna take
a
notes. I'll
follow-up
take
to,
all this notes.
Ellen's, comment. If we don't, if this is not in a flood zone, does that mean that we're not eligible to get state grants for this? And do we have to lobby the state legislature to sort of change or the governor to change the law?
So-
we could get
It's-
grants?
FEMA is federal.
Federal.
Paul.
No, right, I understand that.
Just so everybody's aware, right now, the town of Greenberg is involved in a bunch of studies. The Manhattan Brook, which affects you guys, the Troublesome Brook, the Hartsdale Brook, the Sheldon Brook, and we have the Babbitt Court. So we're involved in 5 active studies right now. Yours hopefully will come to a close sooner than later, and we'll have some answers, I hope. But we are actively looking at how we could get grants. You've got Garrett Duquesne, who's unbelievable at getting grants. Wyndham Gordon has been spectacular. And C.J. Gillard, our new deputy, is very good with these. So they're looking at any way they can get this fund. With respect to some of the work that we were going to get done this spring, you're right. And unfortunately, with some of the damage that we did take over the winter, our contractors, the drainage work has been all over the place. We're replacing infrastructure in streets, where streets have caved in. You know, you got 30-year-old corrugated metal pipe because of the salt on the roads and everything else just erodes away. That being said, Frank and I will be out in the hallway. If anybody wants to ask any particular questions, we'll let the board get on with their regular meeting. And we're here. I'm in this office.
The last
All
question I have is, how much does it cost every time we basically remove obstructions? Because should that be like another allocation in the budget? You know, I mean, if we want to do it twice a year, what would be the appropriation that we would want to include
So
in the budget?
that's part of the operational budget.
Right, but
right.
is there a way of like saying, yeah, this, every time we do this, it's $50,000 or $30,000? I mean, could you?
So we reevaluate that each year. Like this year, again, we talk about the study we did for the water and sewer.
I'm just talking about this area.
Same thing. It's all infrastructure. So each year, we reevaluate what we project the needs are for the next year. In this case, I'm sure you're not going to like the number for the drainage. Again, this year was 1.5. The last 3 years, it was $2 million. That money is spent. It's been used. We're continually doing that. Our engineers are looking at that. Everybody in the field's looking at that. This, when you get a hit like this, every day you come into the office, you're not sure what you're going to run into. You get a storm like that, that changes your whole life. We adjust with that the best we can. Again, it's not just what we took out of the brook, it's what sanitation picks up on the street. Because these poor people have to, you lose their basement, all the contents come to the street. So
No, because
we have to look at
Right, the
that.
question that I have is basically, I don't mind, when you said you're not gonna be happy, I am happy that you're spending the money on this. All I'm saying is that if the town board says, we wanna be committed, that we are committing to remove the obstructions on the brook twice a year. We're making a commitment, no ifs, buts, ands, and you give us a number and say, you know what, put in
I
whatever
think
it
that
is.
number, I
50
think what he's saying, Paul, he agrees. He just had to determine that number, what
No,
that
but I'm
number
saying,
is.
could
So
you
I think he's going to get that
Could
number
you
to you.
determine that before I come up with my proposed budget, which is
Absolutely, and that's what you requested in the email, so.
September 30th or something?
So schedule with
So we're going to
costs.
schedule, then you can always have that conversation, you can go to his meeting. And and again, I don't want you to think, I want to thank everyone for coming out. You have seen this team come out, and you've seen us walk around the brook. This is not going this is not going where we are not paying attention and we're not working to make sure that we do something. But as staff has been continuing to do, thank you, Commissioner Fawn Morabito, who's really been out there on boots on the ground, literally boots on the ground, to try to figure out how to get all of this rectified. Also, one thing that people miss, we were talking about the trees. Did you see the amount of dead trees that was out there? So we're also dealing with that as well. So if we have 100-year-old trees that's out there that's finally at their last limb, and if a storm that hits like we had July 14th, all the work that we have just done, we have to go back and do it again. And we are aware of that, and we recognize that, which is why we have put plans in place, which is why we have now put together a maintenance plan. Thank you to the team, management here, has put together a maintenance plan to figure out going forward when that's going to be clean. Now, I know we want to say every October, every April. You can't determine that. We should just make sure that it's done biannually, or however it's going to take to make sure that we don't continue to deal with this. So you can't just say a month, because we don't know what we're going to be faced with. So I just want to make sure that's all clear. But we just have time for one last question, and I'll give it over to Ms. Burton, and then I want to again thank everyone for coming out.
Good afternoon. Is this on?
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lee Burton. I'm at 93 Gibson Avenue. And my question is, how can FEMA actually assist if Gibson Avenue's been omitted? They're not, we've been blocked. And
Jason Capola, our town engineer, when he brought this out,
He's fit to be tied.
he couldn't believe, and there are lines, and I could show you this when we go outside, that just ended. And it's not just this area, it's other areas in town. That's something that, we're going to have to.
There's an
lean on.
article in the New York Times today, I think it was front page, saying that the president basically is destroying FEMA. So the thing is, FEMA is not, they've cut the staff, they've made it ineffectual. So, I think it was front
Yeah,
page of the Times
but at least
today.
they helped me after Ida. My insurance denies me every time
was a
I have
different-
this.
Yeah, but that
one.
was a different
I
precedent.
know,
Yeah,
but
so.
it's like, if I had told them I am in a flood zone, they would have helped me this time. And I'm blocked.
So we just learned this as well. So, literally, we were floored to learn this and do not understand how it just ended. So we are floored as well. So as frustrated as you are and as shocked as you are, we are too. I don't have an answer for you. I'll be very honest with you. I'll be very honest with you.
Senator Schumer, Gillibrand, Congressman Latimer, if they could reach out to FEMA and try to get this area.
That's going to be your only bet.
Good luck.
Jason is
That's what
right.
we gotta do.
Well, good luck. Yeah, but we're going to continue to work. And again, this is why I stress the importance of having our relationships, friendly relationships as well, with our state, local, and federal partners. And again, this is partners, because the town can't do this alone, because as you see that it's divided by state and federal. So we are working together. We're trying our best. Again, as I mentioned, we are definitely boots on the ground. I wish I could say this is not gonna happen again, but I can't put, that would be a flat-out lie.
It's
and which we're
happening
not
more
doing.
often.
And, but you also remember the climate change that we're in as well. So,
Exactly. What
right, but
happens every 10 years,
It's
then
happening
went to 5.
every month.
Exactly. The other question is, and I don't see anyone from the assessor's office here, can the most recent assessment on our properties in that area be either paused or waived? Because clearly, the raise in the assessments, it's not, what we're experiencing now, it's not worth the raise.
Does our legislation
Yeah.
that we're looking at, climate legislation, that basically provides retroactive
Well,
tax
not for the
credits?
most recent storm. It's only when it's considered a
Yeah.
state
State
or
of
local
emergency.
disaster. But
Every
what you
single
can
storm
do-
that we've had has been that. My neighbor has lost 3 cars
Right, so-
since
but I have another-
2021.
So hold on.
So
hold on,
that's
Lee.
for the local law, that specifically is done by the state, and if it's not considered a state or local disaster, it cannot apply. However, what you can do is grieve your taxes based on the taxable status date, which is May 1st of every year. And if you can support that as of May 1st, you have flooding issues, which diminishes the resale value of your home, you do have the opportunity to have your taxes reduced. Not a freeze, but taxes reduced from what they're currently at if you show
You can leave them
comparable
You all heard
sales,
that, right?
comparable. Well, that is real property tax law.
You have
Have
to
to have that
apply.
so that's the conversation that you would, like, as town attorney just mentioned, you have to grieve that. So listen, I would suggest that you have a conversation with the assessor. Okay, and just, she can explain to you the grievance process, she can explain to you what you're going to need to show proof of grievance and
All the
and what you would
deadlines
need
and-
and everything that, so you can make sure you make your claim. So I would really have that conversation with her. I'm not the assessor. I can't answer that. I'm not going to give you a false answer. But I would highly suggest that you reach out to Edie McCarthy, who is our assessor, and she will definitely work with you. And maybe you set a meeting just like this, and the group, and then have Gibson Ave and let her show you and have that conversation.
That's gonna be for the future,
Right. But yes,
because the grievance period has closed for this year.
yes.
But you can still do the process.
Right.
So you're prepared for it. But whatever you think your property is worth, come May 1st, that's what you should be coming in. And if you don't think what the bill says, because now it's 100% accessible, you can't sell it for, then you should bring in documentation.
And that's your right. That's your right as a homeowner.
Right. And
You
the
have
other
that.
thing is, the town can't afford to do everything that needs to be done. The town can't afford to take responsibility for county waterways. We can't take responsibility financially for state or federal. What we need to do, I think Councilwoman Jackson is working with the county on this, is at least when we're getting rid of some of the materials that's there, is at least waive the tipping fees for us so that it's not only are we doing the labor, but we're also paying to get rid of something that's not in something that we're responsible for. But this board is the most accessible to you. You don't see anybody here from the federal government. You don't see anybody here from the state, understandably, right? They can't be everywhere. So we're on the front lines. And you don't want to hear us say, oh, that's a state, oh, that's the federal. So we try to do what we can. Sometimes we get in trouble for actually going into these waterways and clearing them out because we're not supposed to be there. The Army Corps of Engineers should be doing the sawmill. We try to go in there as best we can to take the stuff out, but then, hey, you're not supposed to do that. Well, then you do it, right? So I don't want to see us increase our taxes for something that we should be reimbursed for from other entities. So we're exploring that as well.
Could we, we had discussed briefly waiving building permit fees for people who suffered financial losses, because a lot of the people here, you suffered financial losses, you have to rebuild, and one of the things the town has the ability of doing is waiving the building permit fees and saying, you know what, if you're going to be doing repairs, we're not going to charge you. And I'm wondering if that's something that the town board could authorize, because this is a way we could help residents.
We've
of
discussed
Gibson.
this, Paul, as you know, and it's very nice for you to say to everybody here in
I
public, hey,
support
we're
this.
going to waive this.
I do
But
support- I
if you,
want this.
what we decided was if there's a declared state of emergency, which you did not
Which you did not
declare
declare.
on that last storm, I don't know why, but you didn't, that then, in that
I mean,
case,
he's-
we
no,
would
it
waive
has
the
to be
building
known.
permit.
That's how
I
it's
believe,
outlined.
first of all, I believe that we should waive the fees for anyone who suffered, damages. The town board has the ability to waive the fees. Everybody here is suffering.
It's not true.
not
It's
true.
not true, Paul.
Only if a
Don't-
state
please
emergency
don't-
has
You know
been
what,
please do not
I am
mislead the public.
recommending that we waive the fees.
So then you need to clause state of emergency the next time.
It's not
If
an
you
argument.
make it a state of emergency, my insurance will help me.
So
Because it
Right.
wasn't declared,
That's-
I can't
exactly.
get any money from
Understood.
insurance to help
We've had-
rebuild walls and get new appliances and do all of that. It has to be a state of emergency, and you have the power to do
he
that.
does.
Only the supervisor
Only
can
he
do that.
does.
If you do that, I can resubmit and get money to help rebuild my house.
Frank and I will be out.
Yes.
Right.
Do you want
So
to
anybody
meet?
has any questions?
You want to meet?
throughout that?
Thanks. So thank you again for coming out,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you for working with us.
Okay.
Okay, Heather, thank you so much.